Hey y'all, this is Ryan with TrendLizard.com. Joel, thanks for sending me an email. I got two tickers that you have asked me to analyze for you. We're going to take a look at both of them. Obviously, the first one is Jill, J-Jill, retail company, ticker J-I-L-L, as well as Carver Bancorp, C-A-R-V, CARV for the ticker. We're going to start with Jill here. It was incepted back in 2017. It really didn't fare very well until the 2020 low. Trended downwards, went lower, gave us an ABC recovery, and then declined again in a large 5-wave advance until it hit that low in 2020. Since then, it's been in a very nice recovery, as so many things have. But from a long-term time frame, here's what we're looking at. We have a trendy 5-wave down move, and we have this recovery that so far retraced a Fibonacci portion of this 5-wave down leg. So in that respect, it really hasn't done anything to indicate that the trend is up. The only thing that we've seen on this guy so far is trendy downside action. And then whatever this is, obviously a very large move to the upside. But honestly, all it's really done is retrace a Fibonacci portion of this trendy downside action here. So if there's any doubt regarding the trendy nature of this move here, I'm going to change this. This is a logarithmic scale. We're going to change it now to a linear scale, just to put it in a little different perspective, and also just to show really the true scope of this recovery here off the 2020 low. And you can see it's a pretty obvious 5-wave down move, and then you have this fairly choppy recovery that certainly has become more sharp in 2021. But again, so far all it's done is retrace a Fibonacci portion of this 5-wave down leg. So the only thing that can really save this guy from a trading perspective, and for us to believe that it is starting trendy upside movement, is if this action here is very clearly trendy. So that is the goal. We're going to drive into that a little bit more here. Here's a look at that recovery off the 2020 low in April, early April of 2020. Again, pretty rough start. Things have become more direct more recently. But the question again is this trendy action? Here's an attempt to label this in a trendy fashion. It's not obvious anyway to call this trendy movement. We can call it a first wave, a very deep second wave retracement, a leading diagonal to start wave 3, in wave 1 a second wave pullback, and then you get the sharper action to the upside. I'm okay going with this labeling. The point I'm trying to make here, it's just not super obvious that this is the start of a trendy, a new uptrend based on the price movement. Again, until what's happened in March of 2021, this action is beautiful. This is where the real strength has come. This is more just sideways choppy action. So what we can kind of hang our hat on is what's happened in 2021, this strength to the upside here. So let's go ahead and zoom in on that action here. That action off the 2021 low looks bullish. It looks great. You get trendy 5-wave action to the upside, a very clear counter trend pullback here, another trendy 5-wave move for wave 3, and then a pullback in June. It does not yet appear complete. It appears to be a fourth wave here. You can use this. I mean, you can certainly use this to trade it. It's not my favorite just because you're looking at a long-term advance or a long-term move that, again, doesn't really support a trendy long-term outlook based on what we looked at before. That's a concern. But again, you're getting more trendy action more recently as it goes, and you're seeing some very large moves that are proving trendy to the upside. So it's something you can work with. It's not the best chart. It's not one that I would pick and say, yeah, I've got to trade this guy. But I think it has more strength left to the upside based on what we're seeing off of March's low. It looks like a 5-wave move in progress. What looks like is going on again is that we appear to currently be in a 4th wave pullback. I would expect to see additional weakness, maybe something down into this yellow area, as long as this pullback off of June's high is able to stay above 1345. There's hope for it. As long as we get that pullback and we see some strength, I think it's a tradable proposition. A move above 2205 at any point would be very bullish. That would indicate that this is a counter trend move and would indicate that the recovery in 2021 is not over. We would expect a 5th wave up, another 5-wave move for wave 5 to the upside before we get any type of larger pullback. But again, that's only valid as long as it stays above 1345. If we zoom in and just look at very recent action, I can show you here why we don't think that pullback off of June's high is over. You get this trendy 5-wave move to the downside on a very short-term time frame, and then sideways action. This looks like an A wave down, a B wave recovery, and again, expecting a C wave down to give us that larger counter trend pullback. That needs to stay above 1345. Obviously, that's a pretty big move to get below 1345, so it's not like this looks like all hope is lost. I think you can be bullish here, but we are expecting a larger pullback off of June's high, and then any kind of trendy upside strength you can trade, but keep in mind that it's probably the fifth wave of this up leg here. And then on again on any larger time frame, I think you need to be careful until there's a reason to think that the up move that we've seen off of the 2020 low is actually a trendy move. So bullish against 1345, a move above 22 looks bullish and would indicate that this recovery is going to continue and should at least give you a 5-wave move in 2021, if not, something to develop a larger 5-wave move to the upside from there. So that is Jill. Let's shift our focus now to Carver Bancorp, CARV. This guy was incepted back a long time ago in 1994, moved up from there quite a bit, and then hit its head and looks like at the end of 2003 and underwent a very large cleansing here to the downside. Looks like a trendy 5-wave move into the 2011 spike low, and since then has gone largely sideways. Hasn't felt that way more recently with the strength we've seen, but on the larger time frame, all of this has largely been sideways. Like we did before with Jill, I want to take a look at this in a different light, not just on a logarithmic scale, but also on a linear scale, just to make the 5-wave move a little bit more clear. And I just don't think there's any other way to label this decline. It's important just because it kind of lays the groundwork on the long-term time frame that the trend has been down, and when you look at it this way, certainly it's had a big up move, but this is largely flat action that's happened after a huge trendy down move over the course of several years. So on a long-term time frame, it's hard to look at it and say, hey, this is incredible, what a great buying opportunity. It looks like a stock that's in a long-term downtrend, and it has done nothing so far to indicate that something different, such as a trendy up move, is taking place. So let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit here. This looks just at this price action that's happened over the last several years. It looks pretty flat on this scale. If we look at it here, it looks a little bit more lively, but again, it's still been a choppy, largely sideways move. This is it. If we look at that advance, it started in 2011. The first up leg looks like a very clear 3-wave move. Since then, we got a massive multi-year 3-wave pullback that retested that low. All of these are signs that say this is not the start of a new trend. Obviously, when you get something that goes from like $1 up to 20, it's pretty exciting, but let's be honest, 2020 was a very strange year, and 2021 is largely the same. Things have just been pretty largely disconnected, and it's hard to look at this again as anything other than a large counter trend move. So maybe we can zoom in on this and find something that's worth sinking our teeth into. So let's go ahead and do that here. This is the move off the 2020 low, so if I step back out, it's just this up move right here that's taken place. And what you see is this move here that looks more like a 3-wave up move, very large again, but since then, since June of 2020, you've just had this massive choppy, trend-free type price action. It's hard to be bullish on this. Again, you're looking at a pattern that has, if I can find it, looks like a large sideways move littered with 3-wave patterns, not exactly the stuff of trends, so that concerns me. And if we zoom in even more and take a look at just this action over the last month or so, I mean, we can certainly make a case that the up move off of May's low is a trendy 5-wave move, and if we wanted to build off that, there was an opportunity for it to do so, but instead it broke down again, retraced more than 61.8% of this up leg here, and looks trendy in its own right. So it's pretty hard on any time frame for me to be bullish on CARV. One thing that could save that and kind of turn things back the other direction is if it was able to continue above 1525. That would be enough of a retracement of this down leg here to say, okay, maybe this thing is going to redeem itself and continue higher from there. But until that happens, there's just really nothing here from an objective standpoint that we can look at and say, yeah, this is good stuff. This is the base of a much larger up move, because everything that's happening is not pointing in that direction. You're getting trendy downside movement and counter trend upside movement, even if that counter counter trend upside movement is impressive, it just doesn't look sustainable, especially when you get these sharp up moves and then you're seeing it be retraced so quickly to the downside. It's hard to be really bullish on this guy. I would need to see a move above 1525, clearly trendy upside movement for me to be bullish on it. Otherwise, it's just not a buy from an Elliott wave perspective. So, hope that's helpful, Joel. Have a wonderful evening. Looking forward to another fun week ahead. Take care of yourself. We'll talk to you again very soon. Take care.